last night. Was that you got the call, or you were calling saying, what the heck's going on?
The way these things work is calls are made, calls are set up. It's not uncommon, but I did get a good chance to speak with him, and he was probably a little bit surprised to have a politician on the other line who actually understands this industry and his company very, very well from my past work. So we actually had a very open and very good conversation, and I really appreciated him taking the time.
So what does this mean for him?
Well, you know, I expressed my primary concern that on the one hand, while this feels like a massive investment into Calgary and into Calgary's tech sector, it also removes one of Calgary's most important head offices. And I wanted to ensure that there's job creation in Calgary that comes out of it, and not just frontline job creation, but downtown office job creation. I pitched hard on moving some of Rogers' corporate functions or overall businesses to Calgary. In fact, one of Rogers' most senior executives currently lives in Calgary. So there are real opportunities there. Mr. Natale expressed his love for Calgary, which is nice, and pledged that there would not be a, quote, giant sucking sound out of Calgary as a result of this deal, which is great. But of course, we will stand firm on our need for assurances of that and to really understand what's going to happen to the workforce going forward. Now, also, not really my role, but we also have to make sure consumers are protected through all of this. And certainly Shaw had been doing some very good and disruptive work in the wireless industry, and I hope that that will continue.
Worried about a net loss of jobs?
I was guaranteed that there will be a net gain of jobs. The problem is I don't know where those jobs will be vis-a-vis the ones that may move.
And that's really the question, like, as you referenced in the meeting, there are certain types of Shaw jobs in Calgary that you don't want to lose.
Well, that's right. You know, when we're looking at a 30% downtown vacancy rate, when we're looking at what people used to call white-collar jobs, that's what I start to get worried about. Because if you're going to hire a bunch of folks in customer service and frontline, good jobs. Not denigrating them in any way. But we want to make sure that those white-collar jobs are there as well. Now, the good news about it is they've also pledged a 500-person tech innovation center to be here in Calgary, and that could actually be quite transformational.
Is it possible that this could mean change for Shaw Court that just has the downtown vacancy problem?
I made it very clear to Mr. Natale that we've got a 30% downtown vacancy, and we would not look positively at anything that would increase that.
Well said. Very well said.
Well, you know, look, if I was still a management consultant working with big companies like Rogers, I would point out to them that what a remarkable opportunity to move wholesale a bunch of the business from a very high rent and expensive location to a much cheaper location. Remember with Amazon, without any government incentives, if they took their Seattle office and put it in downtown Calgary, they would save nearly $2 billion a year. I'm really happy that we have inked the deal for the largest vaccination site by far in Calgary to be ready in early April. That'll happen at the TELUS Convention Center downtown. It's got a C-train station literally at its front door. We'll arrange for free parking for people. We'll use as much of the building as we can to get as many people through the vaccination process as possible. So as vaccine comes, our goal is to get into as many arms as possible, and the city is very pleased to be a partner in this.
That's 2 city sites. Are there more coming?
That's really just one city site, actually, because the Genesis Center site, while it's city-owned, is operated independently, and that's an entirely AHS-operated site. There's no real city partnership there. This one at TELUS will require some city partnership. Basically, the city will manage what's outside of the clinic, and AHS will manage what's inside the clinic, so we're pretty excited about that.
Other sites possible?
Let's see how much vaccine there is. You know, certainly if we've heard from the Prime Minister that shipments of the Pfizer vaccine are going to increase massively over the next few weeks. We don't yet have certainty on the AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson vaccine distribution. But if we get lots of vaccines, everyone is interested in getting those in arms as quickly as possible. So the Genesis Center has the possibility to go to 5 times its current size, and the TELUS Convention Center at full capacity is 10 times the size of the Genesis Center. So we'll be ready.
You know what they're looking at TELUS? Big room.
I don't know yet. I haven't seen the operational details.
That's entirely within AHS, right?
That's right. Anyone else?
Recall legislation being introduced today.
Oh, is it being introduced today? I
Was
didn't
that
see.
today?
Well, again, as I've said before, if you're going to do it, actually do it. And the concern that I've got with the thresholds that we saw before, if they haven't been changed, is that it's much too high in a big city. It might actually be too low in a small town. So you've got to be super thoughtful about this stuff.
Just a question about travel restrictions as we head into warmer weather, nicer weather. Is the city working on anything to promote local tourism, but safely heading into this summer, where of course we're going to have nicer weather, but restrictions still in place, vaccinations?
Yeah, I mean, number one is let's not get spring fever now. We're so close, the light is flooding the tunnel, but we're still in the tunnel. So do not get your vaccination and your first vaccination and rip off your mask and go dancing down the street. We're not quite there yet. That said, as we are in third false spring, which we're very used to here in Calgary, people are getting excited about warmer weather, and certainly we will encourage people to continue to get out, get some exercise, get some fresh air, enjoy the company of others in a safe and socially distant way. Remember that outdoor restrictions are still restricted to 10 people. Indoor gatherings are not allowed at all still. All of that said, certainly we're going to encourage people to do local tourism, staycations, and support local businesses over the summer as they did so well last year.
Are you encouraged by the Calgary Transit kind of plan here to address social disorder and so on?
Yeah, you know, I've been increasingly nervous about the fact that people are not feeling safe on transit. Even though the numbers are still very manageable, even though the really serious stuff is actually down year on year, this stuff has the capability of perception becoming reality. If people think it's not safe, they don't take it, and then it becomes less safe. And so I pushed hard over the last couple of weeks to say, let's do a blitz, let's get more people on, let's just help people feel safer. And if there are, you know, certain chronic individuals who have challenges, who are causing the trouble, let's get them the help they need, rather than have them existing just on the system. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we've got the plan right, but certainly we're going to be revisiting it constantly, and if we need to put more resources against that, I'm happy to do that any day.
I mean, a lot of photos have been kind of circulating on social media, maybe video and stuff, but what's kind of happening on these trains? I guess long term, what is the concern if that does go unaddressed?
Well, it won't go unaddressed. We've got to fix it, and we should fix it now. Part of the problem is that stuff's so much more visible because there's so many fewer people on the train. But you don't want to just dilute it. You actually want to get to the root of the problem and get the people the help they need, and that's really the goal here.
Mr. Morgan didn't mention it. Do you know what the total cost of the additional security will be if you're hiring outside and you're doing overtime in the meantime?
You know, I don't know the exact number, but look, we've got CoFlex money, we've got money to deal with COVID, and this is clearly an impact that we're willing to invest in.
Do you know how that's being looked at right now in terms of time frame? Is it like
today?
It started last Thursday.
Yeah.
The additional security coming in May, is it a 6-month thing? Is it the balance of the year?
I'm waiting for the details on that myself, because today was the first kind of presentation of that. But as you say, I was going to say literally it starts today, but it's actually started already. So we'll really be looking to folks to see if they are noticing a difference on their commute.